perspective, perception. That's the mechanism that creates worlds. It goes back to us. It goes back to us. We're being called to be conscious creators. Hey guys, I just woke up and I do not have tea right now, which is sad. I really just want to record, sit down and just, share my insights, share ideas and connect with other people. So I don't know if I'm gonna upload this. If you're a creative, you know this, but like the amount of creativity that we get to create and experience within the process of that is truly really fun. It's really fun. And I'm moving the camera because I'm like, is this angle? And obviously, like, this whole YouTube thing is new to me. I mean, I did start like I think a month ago, but I'm just really proud of myself. My entire why is to be my authentic self and to share with you guys, to be in your authenticity and know that your authenticity is powerful. And I'm still obviously in my own journey of that, where it's like, oh my god, it's kind of scary to be authentic, but like, why is that? Why is that? You really have to accept the fact that it is never about you, it's never about me, how other people see me. Even if people love me, it's not about me. The projection of life, the projection of how we operate in our day-to-day, in our life, is all based on the agreements and beliefs that we make with ourselves. No matter what, everything is through the filter of you. Everything's through a filter, a veil of you. You are also truth as well. I'm still learning every day to be myself more and more. And then when I catch those small but huge reactions, behaviors, or habits that I do, really being aware of, oh, why did I act this way? Did I act this way because I felt comfortable being myself, or did I become comfortable trying to appease to somebody else, trying to appease to an image? I feel like this challenge, it's a challenge that is an opportunity. Be more in tune with ourselves and be more in tune with our truth. Our truth. With truth, we can have many different beliefs. We can say, oh, that's that, or oh, that's beautiful, oh, that's ugly, oh, that's whatever. And realizing that the truth of it all is all truths. All truths are truthful. Every single perspective within, within humanity, everybody's perspective is true. And that's because we are truth within ourselves. Whether it's like negative or positive or neutral or whatever, truth is a agreement. Also, how we live and believe. Believe is be and live. Like, there's certain beliefs where I'm trying to shed right now, and I'm like, you and me, we do it every single day. We discover more or of the same of ourselves. I just feel with me, I'm in this phase right now where I'm, letting go of old perspectives, old truth. Technically, it did serve me at one point to think something negative, but it was like a false thing that I now realize, where no, that truth kind of hinders how I live my life. It kind of hinders how I connect with others. It kind of hinders my authentic path. That's for us to decide. It's for each to decide. And it's not for somebody to decide, this shouldn't be this way. If you believe that, then that's your own projection. If you project to somebody, that's your own projection for yourself. We're all in a world of projection, and we live within our own perception. We live within our own belief system. and we get to create a new system. And that's the whole glory of it all. That's the whole glory of it all, is that with, you know, how we operate, we get to create new systems over and over and over and over again. I mean, nothing's just set in stone. Every day we always change. Whether you believe it or not, we're always shifting. We're always, you know, gaining a new perspective on something. And if you feel you don't, then maybe that's the perspective that you needed to know in order for something else to happen. With that, you know, the ripple effects just go beyond when it comes to realizing this is all a experience. It goes back to your awareness. It goes back to being the pure consciousness that we are. Perspective, perception. That's the mechanism that creates worlds. Through our perception, we get to create whatever it is that we want. Literally, a group of 5 people can look at the exact same object, and it's impossible for all of them to see it in the same way. Within each is a whole universe of itself. A whole universe of itself. Like, really sit with that. We are all in a unique perspective, a unique perception of this world and of ourselves. We have a different perspective. How we see ourselves, how we see the world, how we see people, how we see money, how we see love, and a plethora of other things. How we see nature, how we see water, how we see our fears, our darkness, or shadows, or whatever. It goes back to us. It goes back to us. Nobody else has to think that you're beautiful. Nobody else has to think that you're whatever. Cause it's whatever. It's whatever. Yes. Yes. Me personally, I feel like God is everywhere. I don't see like God as like a one father in the sky. I see God within each. I see God within nature. I see God everywhere. Within you, within me, within, you know, our pets, within animals. God is omnipresent. God is infinite within you. God is infinite within us. And not to say that you control, but you're powerful and that you are power itself. Your authenticity is power. Your own authentic creative power is what is needed. With God being within each, within you, within me, truth is your own to make. Truth is your own to create. Beliefs are your own to make up. If you want to live in your dream life, live in your dream life. It starts now. It's right here, all available through you. It makes sense that the world is quite literally in your hands. The world is within the palm of your hand. And also within your heart, within your mind, within your perception, within your perspective, within you. The world's within you. A whole universe lives within you. A whole universe around us. Why do you think we perceive a universe that is infinite? Because it's within us, as above so below, as within never without. Quite literally. You are the construct of reality. You make the building blocks of your reality. The things that aren't satisfying you, it makes sense that you're going against a flow that doesn't make sense for you. It becomes clear when things become difficult, when things become a struggle, or things become confusing, or things become, you know, fearful or anxiety provoking. You wonder why you feel bad. It's because you're going against the flow where you're meant to just go with the current. You're just meant to go with the tides and just, you know, life can just feel difficult sometimes, and that's a part of, you know, the enlightenment. It's enjoyable to the extent of we get to discover what's, you know, helps us, what supports us. We are secure within ourselves. Security lives within us. And look at Katara. She's just the most beautiful girly in the world. She's so sweet. Such a sweetie pie. But anywho, with the world being in your hands, you don't have to see it as like fucking a dictatorship where you have to control how your life goes and how it flows and how it operates. If you're in a situation where you really have to cry it out. If you really feel fear, sit with the fear. If you feel anxious, really sit with yourself and understand why. Really sit with yourself and understand where it's coming from. What's the core of it? The core of it all. You know, the earth's core. Like it all, like the core of it all is very important. Without the core, what is around it? What's around it? You know, we get to go deeper into it. With the now that we experience, our eyes are only vehicles to see, but when it comes to our perception, when it comes to that, it's a chosen interpretation, it's a chosen perception. Regardless of what's happening in your external, you know, there's so many things that we can make up that, you know, happens in the external that people and you and me have experienced that were very painful to see or watch. We don't have to deflect from our pain. We don't have to deflect from perspectives that are painful. We get to go deeper into that to really go in tune with our truth. I mean, obviously as a child, I mean, we didn't know better than to absorb what was happening instead of observe it. So it's like now as we are aware that nothing external has anything to do with what's going inside when it comes to, you know, other people's perception, when it comes to other people's behaviors towards us, it has nothing to do with us. And with the world being in our hands, quite literally, within our hearts, quite literally, within our own minds, quite literally, we get to ask ourselves, what is the highest perception I can have right now? Like, literally, I asked myself, what would my higher self do right now? It's not even about perfection. When you're encountering something and you're like, what would my highest perception do? Your own higher perception is unique to you. It's a high point. It's not about what our eyes are, you know, taking in from the world, but it's like, what's your idea? What's your perception? What's your highest perspective? You're never a victim. Only if you perceive so. If you say I'm a victim, then that's your truth. And that's what will be honored. It's important to realize that you are powerful. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are not a victim of situations. Regardless if it's a bad situation, a bad circumstance, that has nothing to do with the love that you deserve. It has nothing to do with the infinite, you know, support that you deserve. It all goes back to like the unconditional love. You know, regardless of what we're facing, regardless of how things are seeming, it's important to unconditionally love ourselves. And the world being in your hands, you get to travel within yourself and discover yourself, travel to your own dream world, your own creative imagination, your own creative power. You are a whole universe in and of itself. The perception of seeing yourself as powerful, seeing yourself as the creative person that you are, is where, you know, it all starts. Truth is where it all starts. And then your emotions and, you know, the craft of that reality being honored follows. So, yes, quite literally, the world is in your hands. How do you feel? You're not like responsible for everything that happens. We're not responsible for what externally happens. It's not about the external, it's all about the internal. Internal. So yesterday, I was practicing channeling for my higher self, which technically, you know, we all channel information, knowledge, wisdom from, you know, whichever source that you think it's coming from. So I asked my higher self to, you know, help me navigate my current circumstance, help me navigate my current circumstance and situation. Here's what happened. My higher self gave me a visualization that was very vivid. I had my eyes closed. All I can see was a brick wall, and it was gray and black, and I saw like a little bucket with leaves on it, and you know, the fall leaves were like red, orange and stuff on this thick brick wall that, you know, I couldn't see through it. I couldn't turn around or anything. I was like, okay, I just see this. Obviously I was outside and all I could just see was that you know, was a direct signal from my higher self to use my imagination. So what I did within the visualization, I was able to access my imagination and was able to, you know, rise above that brick wall and just see the huge world around it. That gave me a very major perspective. And honestly, I just figured out why that visualization happened. I was like, why am I seeing like a brick wall? The higher self was telling me, use your imagination, where your imagination is powerful, where you get to, you know, rise above the walls, rise above the blocks that seem to stunt your path or your way. Use your imagination to perceive a grander, abundant world. Your imagination holds a creative perception, you know, that your inner child always used. I mean, our imagination is a higher perspective in itself. So whenever I saw the brick wall, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna float up. I'm just gonna float up and see what's beyond the wall. I didn't say, oh, let's just turn around and then do that. Maybe I'll just float up above the wall and see what's above the wall. That's exactly what I did. You know, my higher self was like, use your imagination. You're not, you know, stuck. You're not stuck. You're not bound to any circumstance, any situation. I mean, in some cases, you know, things happen. We don't have to control anything, but we get to have a higher perspective and use our imagination to access a better vibration within ourselves. Regardless if the imagination or manifestation happens in a way, source, God, universe will always say to dream big, to imagine, to visualize, to create, you know, a peaceful world within your own self first to even be able to replicate that into your reality. So having a higher perspective, utilize your imagination, utilize, you know, your own inner wisdom, your own inner truth, utilize, you know, your own goals, your own desires and manifestations, and use that to have a higher perspective of what's going on. And it doesn't have to sound good. We can say technically reality is a illusion in it of itself. It's all a illusion. It's all a projected illusion. We get to create our own world as the world is in our hands. We get to create our own perception. We get to choose our own perception. There's so many points of perception that we get to have on this world. We get to look into our world and see something abundant, something massive, something great. Or you can see it as, oh, victim, oh, bad, or oh, negative. You can choose either or. It's not even either or like the polarity of it, but like those true truths are one. It's all one. So you get to create through that. I had that yesterday and it just popped up in my mind. I was like, why did I see that? And I was like, oh. Higher self was like, oh yeah. When we imagine as a kid, it just feels so good in our bodies. We're like, ooh, a fairy. We get to create so much love within our own perception, so much fun and play within that. And I think as adults, we kind of lose that. We're like, oh, we're just subjected to this thing or something like that. We're being called to be conscious creators. Being conscious creators, we have to also look into the unconscious and see where that's coming up consciously. How I see being a conscious creator is being aware of our perception and the why and the core of it, imagining, visualizing, having the high point, having the bird's eye view of, you know, what is possible. There's infinite possibilities. There's unlimited possibilities when it comes to our perception that creates worlds. Dream creatively and let that go into the realm of universe source to have that take course in our lives in whatever way makes sense for us and for our highest expansion growth. It's all about that. You know, you are a conscious creator. In what ways are you consciously creating? And in what ways are you aware of how you're creating, you know, narratives and stories and perceptions about yourself, about others, about your circumstance, about whatever? Are you choosing it because it's comfortable, because it's a pattern, because, oh, it's safe and realistic to do that? Be a conscious creator. You already are a conscious creator. That's the thing. You don't have to become a conscious creator. Yes. You and me, honey. Conscious creators. Yes. Use your creativity. I'm really glad that you sat with me, that we're sitting together, realizing our power, realizing our creativity, realizing, you know, the universe that lives within us and the worlds that live within our own minds that we get to create, that we get to, you know, break down if it doesn't serve. I love you guys so much. And, you know, I have a invisible tea mug, so raise your teacup to the screen. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications. I post every Friday. And I really love you guys. Please, you know, be conscious, be aware of beliefs, narratives, perspectives, perceptions that you hold and cling on dearly. Where do you want to expand your world, expand your reality? It all starts with you. You guys so much. Bye guys.